Hello and welcome to AI is Everywhere, but is it working? How L&D teams turn tools into impact. This session is presented by ELB Learning, and with us today is Gary Lamott. Gary is Vice President of Client Solutions at ELB Learning and is a seasoned learning and development strategist with over 20 years of experience in advising global organizations. As Vice President of Client Solutions, he helps Fortune 500 companies design and implement scalable workforce transformation programs that drive measurable business value. Let's please welcome Gary to the session. Gary, if you'd like to start sharing your screen, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Melissa. I appreciate it. So, as far as AI transformations go, we'll start with a fun little interactive journey through core concepts, and then we'll kind of move into what we're seeing as best implementation practices across the companies that we're working with. So, I said that I come to you from ELB Learning. So, we're privileged to partner with 80 of the Fortune 100 companies, and we've successfully created over 20,000 impactful learning experiences. So I'm joining you today from our consulting side of the business. So our AI transformation practice really brings a structured implementation methodology to organizations across the globe. I'll be highlighting the methodology later today and sharing some insights and strategies that we've found that are helping organizations really thrive in the age of AI. So what we'll cover today is we're really going to make this the most engaging session that we have. So if you have some questions as we're running through, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them either at the end of the presentation or during the presentation. We'll begin by kind of like defining some key concepts and terminology in the world of AI, just to ensure that we're all speaking the same language as we move forward. Then we'll kind of like dive into a quick hands-on where we create our own LLM. And then we'll take a look at the current state of AI transformation in the industry, kind of understanding where the trends, challenges, and opportunities are. And then we'll kind of delve into ELB's AI transformation methodology. And I'm going to do my best to get this done in the time that we have. Melissa, can you throw that first poll question up for me? So just a quick poll. Do you believe that your organization is kind of currently well prepared to implement AI technologies effectively? And I'm just going to give about 30 seconds for that. Okay, hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to vote. So these results don't necessarily surprise me. Most of the time when we do this, I do get mostly disagree and neutral. For the agree and strongly agree, I'd love for you to put in the chat kind of what your company's doing, that you feel that they're at the best place forward. I think we could all learn from each other a little there. We're going to talk about some of the largest companies in the world and how they're implementing it. But I'd love to know how everybody's doing it at all levels. So let's get into the level setting. So when we talk about AI in general, at the broadest level, you have artificial intelligence, and that's the overarching term for systems that are kind of like built to tackle tasks typically handled by humans. Problem solving, pattern recognition, decision making. Think about like a self-driving car navigating streets, right? That's really AI steering the wheel. The next level down, we look at machine learning. It's a subset of AI that really is specifically focused in systems that can learn from data patterns without explicit instructions. So think about our Netflix recommendation engines, Amazon recommending the next thing that you should purchase that I fall for all the time. These algorithms kind of analyze past choices and they predict future preferences. We drill down a little deeper, we hit deep learning. It's specialized machine learning that leverages neural networks that are crazily modeled after our own brains, and it manages complex tasks particularly well. So Siri or Alexa, so they don't just hear your voice, they understand what you're saying and they think of ways that they can intricately layer their responses. We move into generative AI, and that's where we're all kind of brought here, right? It's an exciting branch dedicated really not just to analyzing the data that's associated with creating, but it's really focused on creating new content entirely. Dolly, for instance, what we're seeing with Gemini and image creation, right? It really conjures up entirely original products and images just from a single line of text. So we get down to large language models, right? So large language models are really what brought us into this new age of AI. LLMs are focused, is kind of a focused subset of generative AI, where it's engineered explicitly for producing human-like text and facilitating more natural conversations. So ChatGPT is the poster child here. Um, it's really engaging in dialogue and responding thoughtfully to queries. So I think it's important to note here that like AI really isn't new, right? It's been around for decades. Really, what's changed and what's the hype? What's genuinely transformed recently is access. When we have tools like LLMs, now anyone can directly interact with AI. It's not just programmers. The gates have really been opened, so it makes AI conversation available to all of us. So we're going to make an LLM, and we're going to do this as a one-word story game. So I need 3 volunteers in the chat, the first 3 people that kind of respond with a quick me or I'll volunteer. I'm going to ask you to participate and just, okay. So Melissa, Tara, and Regina. Okay, awesome. So Melissa and Tara and Regina are going to help us. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask in that order, Melissa, Tara, and Regina. So we're going to start a story, right? So if we were to start a story that started once upon a time, right? Melissa, you would write once, Tara, you would write upon, and then Regina, you would write a, and then we'd come back to Melissa and you would write time, right? So Melissa, I'm going to ask you to start us off, just one word. The, Regina? Tara jumped in. Puppy, dog. It's really funny that you both chose dog. But Melissa will go first, then Tara. Oh, I'm sorry, and then Regina. Ran, home, from, IKEA. I love it. Okay, so that's actually a great place for us to stop. So the puppy ran home from IKEA, right? So we've started that story. And what we've really done there is really kind of created an LLM. And what happens there is like these large language models, they're not really kind of like these mystical oracles. They're just prediction engines, really. So at their core, all they do is really analyze a lot of data and predict the next most likely word, right? So they're recognizing kind of like for us to recognize, it's really important that the fundamental truth about LLMs is crucial because it really kind of like underscores why replacing workforce entirely with AI isn't really just premature, it's impractical at this point. Because all they are is prediction engines. They're just guessing based on hundreds of thousands, if not millions of examples of what word should come next in a sentence, the word that should come next in the sentence, right? So where we really pinpoint our AI methodology is that AI should complement and enhance human judgment. It really shouldn't replace it. Right now, removing humans from critical decision risks really risks missing context and nuance and essential human insights. So we keep people in the loop and use AI to amplify abilities and not really sideline them. Okay. So we've kind of covered what AI is, right? We've kind of all level set ourselves and how it works. Our three volunteers gave us a great example of how LLMs work. We've seen just how powerful and fastly evolving these tools are, but we've also kind of like seen the limitations. They're capable of generating content and analyzing data, stimulating reasoning. But what comes is the pivotal moment in this conversation because the real question isn't whether AI is impressive. It's not whether it will impact our industry because it's already impacting our industry. It's not even about really what tools we're using. The real question is your organization ready to harness it? Are teams empowered to use it? Do they feel confident? Do they feel trusted? And do they feel capable? Are workflows designed to make AI useful and not just present? Where AI is here, transformation doesn't come from the tool. It really comes from what people can do with the tool. And that's where we're going next. So let's talk about how we can make your organization AI ready and feel that they're ready for real AI transformation. So we're really kind of standing at a crossroads in the evolution of AI. Recent data paints a compelling picture so according to McKinsey, the latest global AI survey reveals that 65% of organizations now use generative AI regularly. It's a figure that's nearly doubled in just a year. So Microsoft's 2025 Work Trend Index underscores that this is more urgent than ever. 82% of executives are labeling 2025 as a pivotal make or break year for redefining their operational strategies and work models. But there's a bit of a paradox here. BCG's AI adoption report highlights that a significant 74% of companies are struggling to scale AI initiatives effectively and truly capture value. So why is there such a pronounced gap between AI adoption and meaningful transformation? It's because way too often we're mistaking adoption for true transformation. Installing a chatbot or integrating AI-driven insights into your quarterly reports doesn't inherently shift the core of how your business competes or innovates. This genuine transformation demands more. It demands a fundamental reevaluation and restructuring of process, culture, and strategic vision. So we think about the billions we've collectively spent on software infrastructure and licensing, and this is just another digital transformation, right? And then we compare those billions of dollars to the efforts invested in preparing our people, really preparing the teams and individuals who must leverage these tools daily. And then without a clear and cohesive strategy to build the necessary skills that foster the right mindset, even the most ambitious AI initiatives stall. And we're seeing it all the time. And this gap between this strategic ambition and this, frontline readiness is precisely where real transformation falters and precisely where our work begins today. So let's talk about how we bridge that divide. AI adoption isn't really about launching another piece of software. It's about igniting deep behavioral and cultural shifts. Too often we're becoming fixated on technology itself. It's kind of like these shiny tools or these cool pilot projects and sleek dashboards. But the truth is that digital transformation rarely falter because of technology. They falter because organizational culture isn't caught up. So according to Boston Consulting Group, fewer than 1/3 of organizations adhere to best practices for scaling AI. Only 22% managed to transition beyond an initial proof of concept to drive real and meaningful change. So why is this? The missing link is often a shared vision. These organizations kind of create this compelling narrative that clearly connects AI transformation potential to the daily realities and purposes of the organization. I often joke that clients call me all the time to order one AI. It's just like, hey, I need one AI, please. So many leaders are just simply trying to check a box that said that they've done something with AI right now. And it's really without strengthening and defining that connective tissue throughout the organization, these tools, these kind of like one AI requests, just end up gathering dust. It's when these implementations of the tools fail that companies blame either slow adoption on resistance to change. But the issue really runs deeper. People aren't inherently resistant. They're cautious because we've really failed to earn their trust. We haven't adequately demonstrated that AI's relevance to their daily tasks. We haven't really built clear incentives that align AI adoption with their personal and professional success. And that true transformation really requires building the robust cultural infrastructure. Imagine an environment where we can foster experimentation that's not just safe, but celebrated, and where these cross-functional collaborations aren't just an aspiration, but it's really the norm across our companies, and where leadership kind of actively champions curiosity, and the innovation is not just merely compliance. That's the cultural shift that AI demands for it really to be ingrained into a company. And it begins by crafting the kind of that shared narrative that speaks clearly and compellingly to every part of the organization. Melissa, can we throw a poll two for a second? So, how confident do you feel in identifying business challenges where AI can make an impact? And it's going to be interesting. We'll see the trend as we close this poll. But as the year has progressed, I've seen people becoming more and more confident to have those discussions. So I'm interested to see what our audience here is. Melissa, we can close that now. Okay. Confident to very confident over 50%. That's kind of the trend that I've been seeing lately. Had I done this in the beginning of the year, we would have seen at least a handful of responses that were not confident at all, and the majority being neutral to not confident. So we're making progress. We're getting some headway here. So, how do we build the infrastructure that we really need? So, at ERB, our consulting methodology for implementation is really a framework built on three pillars. And those three pillars are mindset, skill set, and tool set. So, let's start with the most important of any AA initiative, and ironically, kind of the least technical, and it's really mindset. So, before you bring in tools or training, you have to start with a belief, the belief that AI is not coming from our jobs, that it's not coming to change how, but it is coming to change how we do them. And that simple shift in perspective really kind of like sets the stage for everything else. What we do is we come in and we help teams reframe their relationship with AI, often from fear and skepticism to curiosity and confidence. So this requires really building kind of like psychological safety where people feel comfortable trying new things, asking questions, even failing forward or failing quickly. So we use practical assessments and a short enablement sessions to kind of align teams around shared understanding of what AI is, what it isn't, how it fits into their work, and not just how it fits into their work someday, but today and right now. We show teams where AI excels industry wide, where it falls short, most importantly, where it can make them as an individual more impactful. And we root all of this in AI values that AI doesn't replace human creativity, it augments it. It's a co-pilot, it's not a competitor. Once we focus on kind of like foundational mindset shifts, that sense of openness and possibility, we begin on something a little more tangible, and that's really skill set. And not only do we assess where skill set is, we try to move that skill set, right? So if mindset opens the door, skill set kind of walks us through it. With the mindset in place, we let everybody realize that they don't need to be an AI engineer, but everybody really does need to know how AI can fit into their role and how they can use it responsibly. We start talking about role-based learning, and it means foundational AI literacy for everyone and advanced skill building where it's needed. Whether you're in operations, marketing, finance, customer service, we really bring it to life with these cross-functional workshops. These sessions are hands-on, immersive, they're practical. We design workflows, we surface high-impact opportunities, we build reusable tools, and we create these so people leave with something they can apply tomorrow. We show patterns from similar roles in industries where people can see themselves in the work and imagine what's possible in their own context. Once we've done that, we really emphasize that tools are usually the last step in the process and not the first. So most organizations want to start with the shiny tool, but the truth is the best tools in the world won't really help you fix your problem if people aren't ready to use them. So once we've aligned mindset and established a baseline skill set, that's when we evaluate the possibilities of tool set and we evaluate them strategically and purposefully. We begin by assessing kind of like a current infrastructure. What do you already have? Where are the gaps? What's working? What's just noise? So using the insights from these workshops, we kind of like prioritize real needs and pair them with kind of fit for purpose AI tools. This is a methodology that you can use to implement AI into your organizations yourself. Um, but also we need to make sure that we close the loop with leadership alignment and we kind of like take the insights from this and we prioritize the highest value opportunities and really allow the organization to show a business impact on their AI implementation. So we model the ROI, we kind of build momentum through these early wins, and we put in place the governance that's needed to scale this with confidence. Let's see how some major corporations are shifting to an AI mindset. So we shift organizational mindset. It's one of the hardest and the most crucial things to do, as we've established. The real challenge isn't about getting teams to use those AI tools, but inspiring them to believe that AI can significantly support, enhance, and even redefine their daily work. Microsoft's a great example for this. Microsoft positioned the company as an AI first enterprise, and they're integrating artificial intelligence into every aspect of their corporation. And they're not merely in the products that they sell, but they're fundamentally in how they function internally. They call themselves Customer Zero. Microsoft rigorously, if I can speak today, tests and refine its AI interventions with its own workflows first, and then they build trust and credibility from within. Similarly, Walmart began embedding AI into merchandising, logistics, and HR, and emphasizes a critical framing that their transformation is explicitly people-led and tech-powered. Leadership consistently reinforces the message that AI exists to augment human capabilities and not to replace human talent. This intentional framing shapes employees' perceptions and fosters genuine engagement with these tools. Unilever offers another example that we can learn from. They employ internal campaigns and newsletters designed to kind of normalize everyday AI use. They highlight simple and impactful applications like summarizing extensive reports or analyzing consumer insights. And it illustrates that these kind of like seemingly minor activities collectively drive substantial organizational transformation. Most importantly, Unilever's leadership kind of actively models these behaviors, visibly championing AI integration into routine work tasks and broadcasting success widely. True AI transformation requires more than technology. It really demands a cultural shift driven by clear and consistent leadership and a compelling narrative. We can't just advocate AI's potential. but we have to demonstrate its practical benefits. And that's how you shift mindsets and truly transform an organization. So, how do we shift these mindsets? Shift your organization's mindset from fear to curiosity and from hesitation to enthusiastic adoption. It really begins with the power of storytelling. Executives play a pivotal role here. They have a spotlight and small but powerful wins that echo throughout the organization. Really imagine someone in operations who suddenly has 4 extra hours because they've streamlined a tedious reporting cycle with a GPT tool. That's a story worth telling. It might seem minor, but that's how you ignite this AI flame throughout your organization. Consider a junior analyst whose results skyrocketed after an AI power writing assistant enhanced their client proposal. Organizations need to do everything they can to really amplify these narratives because social proof has a much quicker and deeper impact on behavior than just training. But we see that really story training alone isn't enough. So, visibility from senior leadership is crucial. When your CFO or head of HR or a general counsel openly integrate AI into their workflows, they set a clear example. Their active engagement sends a powerful message. It's not merely acceptable, it's advantageous, necessary, and frankly, it's expected to use AI. Organizational culture isn't just taught, it's really caught through actions and visibility. So we encourage experimentation um, to foster environments where teams can really explore AI in a powerful and safe setting. Host prompt labs, organize AI jam sessions, um, really encourage kind of cross departmental collaboration and creativity. Microsoft's internal Skill Up Challenge or Unilever's kind of like AI focused campaign hubs. These initiatives clarify expectations, they establish trust, and they maintain transparency. Ultimately, the narrative your organization embraces around AI really shapes its adoption. If employees perceive AI as a threat, they'll instinctively resist. But if they view it as an empowering tool, granting them capabilities that we can position as superpowers, they'll embrace it, sometimes enthusiastically, and often quicker than any directive or mandate can really achieve. So once the mindset shifts, the real journey begins. It's about equipping our teams with the skills that they need to maximize AI's immense potential. Let's highlight what's working. Microsoft took a targeted approach, allowing tailored role specific training tracks. Marketing teams are immersed in AI driven campaign ideations. Sales professionals master prompt crafting to extract strategic insights from CRM data. Engineers collaborate directly with AI to streamline code debugging. And this strategic personalization ensures that each team understands AI's direct value to their day to day tasks. Walmart tackled adoption through hands on experimentation. They really created what they call AI playgrounds. So the controlled environments allowed all employees to safely and confidently explore AI tools like GPT. Walmart transformed apprehension into enthusiasm with these initiatives. I mean, hands down, it really sparked creativity and fostered a culture where everyone in their organization can comfortably engage with AI. PwC took a dramatically different path and even more ambitious. They invested $1 billion into comprehensive AI training. They've developed custom built co-pilots that clearly define certification pathways tailored for every employee across different roles. Already they've cataloged over 3,000 distinct AI use cases. That number was updated 2 months ago. I think it's probably more than that now. And those AI use cases, they have a remarkable 40% actively integrated into daily workflows. So for PwC, whether you're a tax advisor or an HI manager, AI fluency isn't really a bonus, it's an expectation. 70% of all implementation obstacles stem from human factors and outdated processes. It's not from technological shortcomings. This means that upskilling your workforce isn't really just a nice to have for employee benefit. It's really essential in unlocking genuine ROI from your AI investments. The question shouldn't be whether we invest in AI upskilling, it's how deeply, how quickly, and how much we commit to these initiatives. So, AI is really the perfect opportunity to develop personalized training that's based on kind of hyper relevancy. So every team has unique challenges, and your learning paths really have to speak directly to those personal challenges. Imagine equipping a finance team with AI tools that kind of sharpen forecasts and train them to use large language models for sophisticated risk modeling. Or your HR team is trained on how AI can craft compelling job descriptions or extract critical insights through sentiment analysis, exit interviews. So, if we really talk about engagement and excitement, figure out how to gamify the entire learning journey. Unilever's created kind of like a brilliant internal talent marketplace that empowers employees across departments to tackle real world AI projects, and they gained valuable, actionable insights along the way. Microsoft leverages kind of the thrill of weekly AI challenges combined with peer mentoring, turning learning milestones into recognized badges of honor. ELB's training arcade platform is kind of the perfect tool to assist with these types of initiatives. And it's more than just tools, right? Don't hesitate to partner strategically, right? We really deliver specialized use case driven training, and you should really too. Um, we can also build bespoke academies, fine tune organizational needs. Remember, the most impactful programs really deliver practical, bite sized knowledge. It's not just abstract theory. From our consulting side, I bring executives into the fold and really make them champions of these initiatives. When AI learning is really embedded continuously and contextually relevant, and it's celebrated at every level, teams don't merely learn, they become catalysts, right? They accelerate your organizational transformation from within. So let's talk about some tools themselves, kind of tangible, practical, everyday AI companions that are already transforming the way the companies work. Walmart created My Assistant. It's a GP powered tool that is now used by over 50,000 corporate associates. So it's imagine the power of an assistant kind of instantly drafting documents, distilling complex reports into clear summaries, and generating actionable insights exactly where they're needed. Then there's Wally. It's an AI partner for merchandisers that measures massive amounts of product data and it identifies trends and recommends strategic actions. Nestle rolled out Nest GPT, and no, it's not a new candy bar or coffee drink, to more than 7,000 employees. The impact? Each employee saves an average of 45 minutes every week. And that's time that they can reinvest into higher value activities. Now, 45 minutes might not seem like a lot, but as they introduce new tools, that number moves exponentially. And when you factor that in across the organization, the impact is dramatic, right? At Microsoft, their AI integration through Copilot into familiar tools like Teams and Words, Excel, PowerPoint, we've used most of Copilot's interactions, right? A lot of us have. It's really reshaped productivity in their own team and in all other teams that are Microsoft subscribers. Early adopters reported reclaiming entire work days every month by being liberated from kind of repetitive tasks that previously drained energy and focus. And what's remarkable here isn't just the sophistication of the technology, it's how they integrated the tools into what people already know and trust. So these aren't standalone apps, they're embedded enhancements. AI tools are kind of like new teammates working alongside with employees at every level, from interns fresh out of college to seasoned VPs, leading strategic initiatives. When we combine AI into workflows, the ships is intuitive, frictionless, and effective. Future of work really isn't about, again, replacing our employees. It's about empowering every person with these AI companions that enhance creativity, increase efficiency, and exponentially double impact. So, what's the difference between organizations kind of dabbling in AI and those that are truly harnessing power? So, from our conversation with most successful AI adopters, four key insights have emerged. First, AI tools must be purposeful, role specific, and continuously evolving. These generic solutions of just giving everybody access to ChatGPT or Claude, they really fail because they don't solve specific problems. So, sales professionals thrive when AI integrates seamlessly with their CRM. Legal teams benefit immensely from copilots that streamline contract analysis. Engineers elevate their productivity when AI assistants debug code or generate documentation automatically. So, second, these integrations into daily workflows is also essential. AI should nearly be invisible and embedded where work already happens. If adopting AI means just another application that or switching tabs repeatedly, AI adoption stalls. When AI lives naturally within chat platforms, spreadsheets, dashboards, or existing tools, it really becomes indispensable. Third thing we're seeing is that proactive governance is often non-negotiable. So you need to establish your boundaries, decision-making hierarchies, transparency around AI's capabilities and limits, and it must be defined and kind of defined uniquely at each organization. At PwC, for instance, custom GPTs are purposefully scoped and layered within enterprise level security, and they're designed for responsible usage. And knowing when AI should lead and when humans have to intervene really ensures that level of trust, accountability, and effective collaboration. Finally, where organizations really should manage AI tools like living products. It's not just launching AI and monitoring progress. It's really about launching AI and recognizing that it's not a one time rollout. It's the beginning of an ongoing dialogue and tracking engagement rigorously, solicit regular feedback, um, iterate continuously. That AI implementation really isn't static and can't be thought of static. It's not a launch and then come back and see what the ROI is. It's really about evolving through active refinement and adaptation. So when we talk about ROI, it's tied together with a kind of simple and powerful equation. So AI technologies capture headlines, and the truth beneath the surface, it kind of remains consistent. There's not a single AI strategy that thrives without the right people and culture driving it. Technology alone really isn't transformative. It's how teams adopt, integrate, and optimize that defines success. There's no company that provide an ROI on AI investment without their people. Boston Consulting Group established a 70-20-10 rule employed by most leading organizations right now. And that I'll break that down for you. So 70% of your investment should really be focused on your people and your processes. Again, why do we think that is? It's really because tools don't create the impact. Our people do. Investing here means that we're empowering teams. We're cultivating adaptability and we're building trust. That 70% of that investment is crucial. We saw it with PwC, right? PwC is spending $1 billion in training their people because they know that whatever they spend on the technology is not going to have an impact unless their people are ready to use it and ready to drive business forward using AI. 20% goes to data. And that 20% of the spend is ensuring accuracy, accessibility, and relevance. So data is really the lifeblood that fuels AI within our organizations. And no, AI is not going to fix your data. We can't just bring in AI and ask it to clean up our data and then interpret our data. We have to make sure that the data that we're feeding into the tool is precisely aligned to what we want the end result of that tool to be able to do. Then we get to 10%. Only 10% of the spend, according to BCG, should be spent on kind of like algorithms and technologies. So let's take PwCs. Let's just say that they're spending $1 billion total. That means $700,000 should be spent on people and process. $200,000 goes to, I'm sorry, $200 million goes to fixing their data, and then 100 million is going to the tools. So why so little? It's really because no matter what you do with the most advanced algorithms, you can't overcome pure data quality and unprepared teams, right? Accenture's a great example of this. They've doubled their investment in AI. Most of that investment didn't flow towards any tech. Instead, it went directly to upskilling their workforce and rethinking their workflows. And it's really about embedding a collaborative culture. And the result was clear. They significantly accelerated their outcomes and their tangible value swiftly across both client projects and internal operations. So before we chase after the latest AI tool, we should really pause and reflect. The real questions aren't about technology, it's about readiness. Do your people have the mindset to embrace change? Do your teams possess the necessary skills to kind of harness new technologies effectively? And are we fostering an environment of trust that allows innovation to thrive? So, if you remember one thing today, really let it be this. AI success isn't really about lines of code or flashy tech breakthroughs. It's about people. It's about leadership that inspires trust. It's about teams that thrive on collaboration and a culture that's intentionally designed to embrace innovation, not fear it. The companies that are really succeeding with AI are deeply investing in their people. I'm talking to them daily, and I promise you that they're not throwing tools out there. They are really coming and having conversations about how they can get their teams ready for the digital transformation that they are about to do, not preparing or asking their teams to use the digital tools that they've already purchased or they've already implemented, right? They're upskilling employees to confidently partner with AI. They're fostering environments where experimentation is encouraged, and they're building a culture that's rooted in curiosity, it's rooted in capability, and it is 100% rooted in collaboration. So tech can spark the change. Only people can really power transformation. So where do you start? How can you take what we've talked about today, the examples that we've talked about today, and implement it into your organization? So pick one small win. Pick one process to transform. Pick one aspect of one team's role that you think that AI can dramatically change and get your people ready to implement that process. Ask them. Ask them what they think is the one area that they think that AI could use, and then work with them to develop that win. Ask them where they see AI leading out in their team. The aspect of employee-led change and employee ownership in this, it really can't be stressed enough. We need to meet our people where they are and then bring them forward into this transition. So pick the kind of that one process to transform, and then we train the tool, right? We train the tool and we train that single team to
Definitely.
really show the ROI on that investment that we have, right? So use AI to kind of solve that problem and then tell the story to anyone that'll listen. Anytime you have an all hands call that you can stress your AI, that you can stress what you've been able to do, tell that story and then get your leaders to repeat that story over and over again. What you can also do for after this is kind of begin your AI readiness audit. Query your teams. We have a proprietary tool that we can bring in, and it really establishes a mindset and skill set baseline for your teams. Whether you use our tool or whether you use your own, establish that mindset, establish that skill set, figure out where your people are, right? And really begin moving forward one step at a time on the AI journey. So I'm going to ask to do our last poll here, give everybody some time to respond to that, and then we'll take some questions. So what's one step that you plan to take to further explore your AI transformation? And this is going to be individualized, right? Like this is going to be what's the next step that you can take on the current journey that you're on? Going to give a full minute and a half for this one since people are typing. And it's not just a multiple choice. I'm always fascinated. I have these conversations nearly every day about what, organizations are doing. Smaller, more agile organizations are experimenting more, which is fantastic. It's harder for larger organizations to do it. But I'm always fascinated by the size of any company and what they're doing because the themes really do emerge that were covered in this presentation. It's really about getting people ready. All right, I think we can close out and see what some of our responses are. Okay, we didn't have any responses, so you can copy them into the chat if you want to discuss anything that you've done. But in closing, before we get to questions, I'd really love to hear from you. What's resonating? Kind of like where do you see your greatest opportunities or barriers? I have a lot of content, AI content that I share on LinkedIn. This is my email address. Feel to reach out directly to me if you have any questions. The QR code is to my LinkedIn. Feel free to follow me. We have some really exciting stuff launching soon that'll really kind of help everybody on their AI journey. And with that, if you want to put any questions, or Melissa, were there any questions that came in during the presentation that I should answer?
We had a couple that came in. I see one that just came in, but what barriers do you normally see within small to medium companies?
Small to medium companies is there's really two barriers that we see most often. Budget is a huge one, obviously, and I'm not saying that it's not budget necessarily isn't a problem for larger companies too, because they haven't figured out where they want to make that spend. But budget's the biggest problem for normal small companies, and it's really about deciding where to make the greatest impact, right? So smaller companies have smaller teams with less people. So when you're creating kind of like that AI solution for a single team, you might not be able to realize the impact fast enough. And that's sometimes where implementation stalls, right? You kind of like get that one piece of that little bit of budget for that one solution that you want to do, and then it doesn't necessarily have the impact because the company's too small to have that ripple effect. And then also alignment on where to take that first step um, is more difficult in smaller companies. Um, often has to do with budget. Because that spend really needs to be targeted. But it's really about aligning where to take that first step and what tools to implement afterwards that'll have the greatest impact along those lines.
Okay, how would you suggest companies handle competing tools? Like some use Copilot, some use GPT, Perplexity. Is standardization important?
Um, Anthony, can I just ask a clarifying question for you to competing tools by like assessing the market or competing tools within the company? I mean, I can answer both, but I want to make sure I'm answering your question within the company. Got it. So it does help when we talked about governance and we talked about structure. It helps if your company has a decision on what they want to use moving forward. Um, we have kind of gone into some companies and really helped them make that decision. And a lot of times it's based on what tools are already prevalent and what's being used. And then we can kind of like evaluate the efficacy of the tools that are being used and say whether that should continue or whether we can kind of like replace a singular tool. Um, and by singular tool, I mean kind of like singular, either like maybe even like middleware that kind of connects your other tools, right? So a lot of the times people are using different tools to do the same thing. And they'll get the same results on any of those tools. It's about teaching them and driving the comfort level to make that switch to the next tool. So what I'm doing on ChatGPT at a low level, let's say we're refining emails, right? Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT, they can all help you do that, right? So it's about really streamlining the more complex use cases for your company and what the best system is to use there. And then leadership kind of like needs to help make that decision and help move in that direction, right? It's before it was the wild, wild west, right? It was an N of one. Everybody was using their own preferred tool. Like I still default to ChatGPT just because I was a ChatGPT early adopter. And I have it kind of fine-tuned to where it does what I ask it to. But I venture into other tools for other use cases now, and that's really what we're seeing more and more is kind of like based on the use case, what is the best tool? So a lot of companies are moving, to this is the tool that we use for branded writing or branded copy editing. I still don't suggest that GPT completely writes for us. Any of the tools really completely write for us, but branded kind of like copywriting activities and stuff like that. Some tools are better than others.
For not-for-profits with limited budgets, where can we make the biggest impact with AI adoption without significant upfront investment?
Yeah, this is a great tool. I come from the nonprofit world, so I feel your pain. Um, it's really about increasing efficiency and increasing productivity. So, what are those tools that can do that? And often these kind of like enterprise licenses, when it comes to tools like either Claude, Anthropic or ChatGPT, OpenAI. Um, they're usually not a barrier to entry. It's usually the customization. If you already are a Microsoft house and you have a Copilot option, that can be embedded to Copilot. I mean, I hope there's nobody from Microsoft on the call. Copilot's not my favorite to use. I still think there's some better options out there. Um, there are some free tools as well that can help. Um, I think with limited budgets, it's again, if we go back to that point of picking like one use case for a win, if you can prove that if you're putting a quarter into the machine, you're getting $1 back, usually we can help free up budgets, or budgets are freed up that way a little bit. So it's really about using chat in a way that's not just, or using an AI tool in a way that's not just a nice to have, like, oh, we write better emails now. Do better emails, really make an impact to the bottom line? Not really. But if, as a nonprofit, your fundraising efforts can be augmented through AI, or your member communication and member satisfaction can go up through AI use. Like, they're really kind of like the impactful areas that make diverting some of those funds worthwhile. I have a lot of opinions on that, on how we can help kind of associations and nonprofits. So if you want to email me directly, I'm happy to have a private conversation about that.
This one's on the QA panel, just so you know for reference,
Yeah.
Gary. What is a starting point for low-resourced communities in developing context?
I would say, use the free tools as much as you can so you understand how AI works, and understand how to best collaborate with AI. Um, it's really about changing the way we think when we use AI. It's not just a glorified search engine that gives us more comprehensive answers. It's really about thinking differently about the way we interact with a computer system. And there's plenty of ways that are low to no cost out there that we can practice that interaction. So when resources do become available, or if they don't become available, at least the kind of like essential skills that we need to be able to better interact with these models and with these machines become innate to us.